This is News 10 at 5:30, live with Elisa Streeter and Chief Meteorologist Steve Caporizzo.
We report to you.
River dwellers meet the rising water face to face as an icy winter yields to an early spring.
You can't really prepare for it. It comes when it comes. You know, it comes so fast you don't understand.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Elisa Streeter. The Mohawk River has begun to recede, but the damage has been done. The river spilled over its banks overnight, flooding homes and businesses. As News 10's Dan Levy reports from southern Saratoga County, it has been a messy and exhausting day for those caught in the water's path.
Most people who have seen it will tell you you have to see it to believe it.
I've seen some crazy things, but this is wild.
Most people who have lived it will tell you you never want to live it.
We don't know if our house is under yet. We had to get back in there to see, but most likely it probably is.
Tim Newkirk was one of about 30 Half Moon residents to be rousted from his home overnight. When the forces of nature went to work on the Mohawk, members of the West Crescent Fire Department went to work, retrieving them from harm's way. 78-year-old Andrew Valagorski spent the night before his late morning rescue. Claudia Brown didn't have nearly that much time to get out.
I had to evacuate within 10 minutes. I grabbed both dogs at the door. My rabbit's still there. I don't know what condition my home's in.
That's life in a floodplain. It's not a matter of where it'll happen, just a matter of when.
Overnight, the water has been fluctuating. It's been rising, it's been lowering.
You might think high water would be a plus for a riverside marina, but as you can tell, it's no outboard adventure for the owners of these sunken motorboats. But while ruined boats merely mark a physical wreck, the nervous wrecks who live along the Mohawk will tell you the emotional scars are a lot worse.
Can't really prepare for it. It comes when it comes. You know, it comes so fast you don't understand.
And the scary thing is, everyone knows it'll happen again. Reporting to you from Half Moon, Dan Levy, News 10.
The flood stage for the Mohawk River is 20 feet at Cohoes Falls. The water reached that height overnight, but fell throughout the day and was last reported to be at 17.5 feet and receding. One United Nations worker described the situation in Mozambique as catastrophic after floodwaters rose there. The World Food Program official says 105,000 people are stranded, clinging to life on rooftops, treetops, and power and telephone poles. Additional military helicopters have been called in to help rescue all these people. More than 650,000 people have been made homeless by 3 weeks of flooding in Mozambique. The Mayan volcano in the Philippines erupted again today, belching fountains of ash and sending red-hot rocks rolling down its slopes. Towns continue to be choked with ash, with debris knocking out power supplies and forcing thousands more villagers to leave their home. Experts say this appears to be the biggest eruption since the volcano began a series of eruptions last Thursday. Another sad story of neighbor turning against neighbor coming out of Nigeria tonight. Residents in the small town of Regasa saw their world explode when Muslims and Christians went to war last week. Neighbors are killing one another, burning buildings, and forcing women and children to flee. At least 300 are confirmed dead, though officials say as many as 2,000 may have died. The anger is linked to Nigeria's ethnic and geographical divisions inside a country cobbled together by British colonizers. It's the final test of the political strength of George W. Bush and John McCain before next week's Super Tuesday showdown. They're doing battle in Republican primaries today in 3 states, Virginia, North Dakota, and Washington. Jim Sciutto reports to you.
As voters went to the polls in Virginia, the candidates had already moved on to states that will take part in next week's Super Tuesday primaries. In California, a day after saying George W. Bush was too beholden to the religious right, John McCain added another charge, that Bush would be the weaker candidate in the fall election.
I'm bringing new people into our party and speaking out against those who would build a wall around our party and relegate us to another lost election with a 40% minority.
Campaigning at a Catholic charity in Ohio, Governor Bush shrugged off McCain's prediction, calling his tactics divisive.
When you look at the results amongst Republicans who are voting in the primaries, I'm winning overwhelmingly. And which means it's going to be easy to unite our party and lead us to victory.
As the Republicans battled, even the president couldn't resist chiming in on McCain's criticism of the religious right.
I think he was frustrated that they didn't support him, and so he's going to make sure they pay a price for it. And whether it's good politics or not is up to the Republicans.
The infighting in the GOP ranks overshadowed the non-binding Democratic contest in Washington state, where Senator Bill Bradley spent nearly a week hoping a win there might re-energize his faltering campaign. Bradley has purchased 5 minutes of ad time to be broadcast nationally on Thursday night. But if he doesn't get a win today in Washington state, there will be mounting pressure on him within his party to drop out of the race. Jim Sciutto, ABC News, the White House.
The Colorado Supreme Court is considering whether to make reckless skiing a crime. The case reached the Supreme Court when lower judges dismissed manslaughter charges against a skier whose reckless action caused the death of another skier. The Colorado Supreme Court is expected to make a ruling in 2 to 6 months. Well, at the Holiday Inn Turf in Colony, more than 20 restaurants are competing for the best chili, all part of the Big Chili Fest to benefit the American Lung Association. And where there's food, there's Steve Caporizzo, probably with a little heartburn. Hey, Steve.
Elisa, whatever you said must have been unbelievable, because I can't hear a word. Sorry about that, but we are at the Country Chili Cook-Off here at the Holiday Inn Turf. A big crowd showing up. In fact, it opened at 5, and we got a crowd of a few hundred people. 19 area restaurants here serving up some of the best chili in upstate New York. So if you have a chance, you don't want to miss it. You know, if you're sitting at home right now, you still have plenty of time. Here's the information. Holiday Inn Turf on Wolf Road from 5 to 8:30, $10 at the door, and it benefits the American Lung Association of Northeast New York. Let's check the forecast for this evening. Mostly clear and cooler, 30 to 35. Today's high, by the way, surprisingly up to 51. The morning low temperature at 31 degrees. We will have much more from the Holiday Inn Turf for you coming up in about 15 minutes. Elisa, back to you.
All right, thanks, Steve. Well, ahead on News 10 at 5:30, Vermont takes a leap towards making prescription drugs affordable. And in our medical breakthroughs report, Tracy Egan shows us how a drug used to treat Lou Gehrig's disease is helping patients with Parkinson's disease. Then a little later, getting married on a leap year. These husbands have to remember their anniversary only once every 4 years.
You're watching News 10 at 5:30.
We report to you.
Cobleskill police have arrested 2 students from the SUNY Cobleskill campus for selling marijuana out of their dorm room. Police say the pair had business cards and even advertised free delivery. 920 packages of neatly packed pot were seized in the bust. Well, the Vermont State Senate has given final approval to a bill that would make the state the first in the nation to regulate the price of prescription drugs. The proposal also contains more than a half dozen other provisions that are designed to reduce prices. They include accessing the cheaper Canadian market and designating clinics in Vermont that could qualify for lower federal prices. Well, the first drug that's been shown to prolong the survival of people with Lou Gehrig's disease may also help people with Parkinson's disease. Tracy Egan has more on the promising drug in our medical breakthroughs report. Tracy.
The drug is called Riluzole, and it's FDA approved for the treatment of amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, Lou Gehrig's disease. Now, there are clinical trials underway to see if Riluzole may also slow progression of Parkinson's disease. Patients aren't expected to get better, but it's hoped they might get any worse. Sometimes stumbles and trembles slightly, but Howard Hurst's hopes are high.
Felt like the grip should be the same for all shots.
The 72-year-old golf lover knows there's a chance his mild case of Parkinson's disease won't get worse.
It requires 2 in the morning, 2 in the afternoon.
He's in a study of the drug Riluzole. Urologist Stephen Gollump says the drug inhibits the release of a brain substance called glutamate.
And we think that by inhibiting the release of that substance, you can prevent certain types of damage to nerve cells.
That's how the drug can delay Lou Gehrig's disease. It occurs when motor nerve cells in the brain and spinal cord are destroyed. Animal studies found Riluzole may work the same way in Parkinson's. It occurs when brain cells that produce the chemical dopamine, which controls body movement, die.
If we can slow or halt the progression of the disorder, we're one step closer to, and I want to be careful about using the term cure, but we're one step closer to more effectively treating the disease.
I would be tickled pink at the end of the study if it stopped me right where I am right about now.
If his condition stays the same, Howard will still have a shaky grip, but It may put him back on course. To take part in the study, patients must be between 40 and 80 years old, and their Parkinson's must have been diagnosed within the past 3 years. They will receive either Riluzole or a placebo for 2 years, during which time doctors will look for signs of progression of the disease, and also they will study side effects such as toxicity to the liver.
All right, thanks very much, Tracy. Well, ahead on News 10, cameras are installed on a bridge crossing the Hudson, all to capture a view of rare birds mating. We'll show you what that's all about. Let's check on the commute home now. Here's Geri Richards with the News 10 traffic scan. Geri?
Hello, Elisa. We're seeing a heavy ride everywhere you go this afternoon. 787 northbound, very slow out of Albany right now, into I-90. I-90, a very heavy ride right now between exit 3 and the 24 tolls, and that is complicated with a broken down tractor trailer off the right-hand side, right at exit 1. That is definitely causing some slowdowns here. Moving on the Northway northbound, a heavy ride at exit 4. Also seeing some slowdowns as you make your way towards the swollen Mohawk River. And later tonight, you don't want to miss Jeopardy at 7:30 for the New York lottery numbers and win 4 drawings right here on WTEN ABC 10. With the News 10 traffic scan, I'm Geri Richards.
Thanks, Geri. Well, soon you won't have to drive across the Dunn Memorial Bridge to get a peek at a couple of rare peregrine falcons. Down the road, you may just be able to click on the internet. News 10 Sharman Sacchetti joins us from the newsroom to explain. Sharman.
Elisa, for the last 2 years, 2 peregrine falcons have been making the Dunn Memorial Bridge between Albany and Rensselaer their home. And one day, you soon may be able to spy on them. Now, NCON is installing a video camera under the Dunn Memorial Bridge to watch the peregrine falcons as they nest. That camera is mounted nearly 5 feet above the nest box. You may recall last year, NCON put up 2 of those boxes to attract the birds. A spokeswoman says it worked. The pair stayed the winner, and by using a camera, NCON says the hope is to learn a lot more about these rare birds.
And the images from the camera will be broadcast to the Corning Tower, and then ultimately we're hoping to internet sites.
30 years ago, a peregrine falcon was almost extinct, so this means quite a bit to them. They were only taken off the endangered species list last August. Reporting to you live from the newsroom, Sharman Sacchetti, News 10.
All right, I guess we don't have the website yet, but when we get it, we'll let them know.
Absolutely.
Okay, thanks a lot, Sharman. Well, birds aren't the only ones mating on this leap day. Love is in the air at Cypress Gardens in Winter Haven, Florida. The Gardens is holding a marathon round of weddings today and tonight, and dozens of people are leaping into marriage. This is the second time Cypress Gardens has held a mass wedding ceremony. In 1996, they married 100 couples. Well, we stay with the bird theme. The topic of today is Murphy's Law, lame ducks. And no, Murph's not talking about hunting.
Stories, tips, investigations. You've got the ideas. We've got the reporters. Call the News 10 hotline at 1-800-888-WTEN and call us for free from your cell phone. Press pound 10 if you're a Bell Atlantic NYNEX customer. Press star 10 if you're with Cellular One. News 10 at 5:30 continues in a moment. But first, what's coming up all new at 6 o'clock?
Could the $1,000 personal income tax exemption be on the way back? Well, some Republican lawmakers would like to see it. And they have some other tax relief plans as well. We'll break the ball down for you tonight on News 10 at 6 o'clock. Good evening, everyone. I'm Jim Brennan. Also coming up, putting children first by having a Mardi Gras party. And the waters continue to rise as ice jams present some problems along the Mohawk and other streams and rivers around the region. We'll go live to the banks of the Mohawk on News 10 at 6 o'clock for an update and a status report on how things are. Elisa, we'll see you in a few minutes.
Okay, Jim, we will see you then. Right now, we turn to Murph, though, and it's time for Murphy's Law.
Yeah, we're going to talk a little bit about lame ducks. There's long been a struggle in sports. It's an ongoing struggle that, you know, how long do you keep a guy under contract? How much do you give him? You don't want to give him too much. You don't want to give him too long a contract because he might be with you longer than you want him. It's a battle. It's a long-going belief that in this battle, you don't let a valuable member on your team get into the final year of his contract. That's always been a belief. The fear being that he or she could have a monster season that last year, then be free as a bird to go to the highest bidder. That's why teams try to lock up their stars for as long as they can. The danger, of course, is that a star can turn into a bum overnight, and the last thing a team wants is to be strapped with a long-term, big-money contract and a guy who can no longer get the job done. Now, both New York teams, the Giants and the Mets, have decided to roll the dice a little bit with their current team leaders, allowing them to enter their upcoming seasons without new contracts. Both Giants head coach Jim Fossil Mets manager Bobby Valentine are in the final year of their current deals. Both have asked for their contracts to be extended, and both have been denied. Teams have gotten some flack for allowing Fossil and Valentine to become lame ducks, thinking that it will undermine their authority with the players and maybe shake their confidence in their organizations. But you know what? I think both the Mets and Giants are doing the right thing. First of all, Jim Fossil should simply be happy that he still has a job. Since his rookie year as coach with the Giants, which he took advantage of a last-place schedule and a weak division to get the Giants into the playoffs, Fossil has done absolutely nothing to make this Giant team a better team. Word is that Giant ownership wanted to fire Fossil at the end of last season. Now, that may have been a bit too hasty, but a contract extension, you've got to be kidding. At the same time, Bobby Valentine, I think it applies to him as well. Yes, the Mets are a better team today than they were when he took over the club, but a lot of that has to do with the talented players that management brought in via trades and free agency. Valentine still has to prove that he can get this team over the hump and into a World Series. After nearly getting fired in the middle of last season, the last thing Valentine should have expected was a contract extension. Now, in an ideal world, everyone in sports, I think, would work under one-year contracts. If you're productive, you get to stay and get a raise, and if you're not, see you later. What we have with Fossil and Valentine, I think, is the next best thing. Two lame ducks, yes, but two lame ducks who control their own destinies. Giants go deep into the playoffs, Mets win the World Series. Both guys will be able to write their own new contracts. And if they don't, they're both gone. Sounds fair to me. That's Murphy's Law.
And if you'd like to respond, you can email him, dan1@WTEN.com, or call him on the phone, 433-4200. All right, we'll see you back here at 6. Well, we're keeping an eye on the rising waters for you, and Steve will have the latest in a moment.
Closed captioning is sponsored by General Motors. Now, Chief Meteorologist Steve Caporizzo with your exclusive Doppler weather forecast.
Time now to check back in with Steve Caporizzo, who's in Colony at the Big Chili Fest. Hi, Steve.
Hi, Elisa. Thank you very much. The crowd is really in here at the Holiday Inn Turf on Wolf Road in Albany. This is the 9th annual Country Chili Cook-Off to benefit the American Lung Association. We even have a dinosaur here. We have Hannaford Hank has stopped by. Hi, Hank. How are you? Just a great night for a great organization. 19 restaurants here with some of the best chili in upstate New York. So if you have the chance, stop on by. You have right up until 8:30 tonight. It's basically all you can eat for a $10 donation at the door. Speaking of today, it is a leap day, a leap year. Did you know, a little leap day trivia for you, 187,000 Americans celebrate a birthday today. To all of you watching, happy birthday on this February 29th. All right, let's check out the national satellite loop this evening. And to the east, it is absolutely wonderful. In fact, today it got up to 51. A little bit of a surprise. Showers out through the Great Lakes with a slow-moving cold front in the upper Midwest. And you can see out in the Midwest, a little pocket of heavy rain, some thunderstorms in parts of Iowa, Nebraska, and Kansas. That system should weaken considerably before it gets here. Here are the current temperatures: 47 at Boston, 59 at Washington, D.C., 62 in Chicago, 66 in St. Louis. Look at Dallas, Texas, 81 right now, and 54 in Denver, and temperatures across the West Coast are mostly in the 50s. Here's tomorrow's weather map, and we do expect that high to move off the coast, and some clouds will increase during the afternoon, but I think the rain will hold off tomorrow. Just the chance of some late day showers, and especially during tomorrow night. And then Thursday, there will probably be a storm developing east of New England with quite a bit of rain or showers near the coast, but for us, just turning windy and colder with some scattered snow flurries and some snow showers, and back to normal temperatures, by the way, for the end of the week into the upcoming weekend. All right, forecast. For this evening, mostly clear skies and cooler, temperatures 30 to 35. And for tonight, mostly clear, a colder night, teens to lower 20s, near 10 degrees across the North Country. And for tomorrow, a mostly sunny start to the morning, then some clouds increasing during the afternoon. Highs 47 to 53 with the south wind 5 to 15 miles per hour. And your 5-day forecast on Thursday, Some scattered snow flurries developing during the afternoon, and 42 as temperatures drop into the upper 30s. Friday, 38, partly sunny. Saturday, partly sunny and a little bit colder, 35. By the way, that's just about seasonable. And for Sunday, partly sunny and 42. That's the 5-day forecast. The news continues. Here's Jim and Elisa.